Hello and welcome to Robbie and James Talk Music, the podcast where Robbie and James talk music. We're your hosts, Robbie Maxted, a creative writing professor.
And I'm James Wicks, a professor of media and film studies.
This week's episode is a genre episode where we'll focus on
punk. We can think of it in two ways. One is its historical timeline, and one is its aesthetic. Thinking about punk in the mid-'70s, we have to turn to bands in New York like Ramones and Patti Smith. When we think through that time period with London, we have Sex Pistols, The Clash. Clash has their famous song, Should I Stay or Should I Go? And other groups like The Damned. When we think of this as an aesthetic, I totally lean into the DIY aesthetic. The idea of punk is if you have a guitar and you have a drum set and you know 3 chords, form a band and go for it. And you don't need to go to music school. You don't need to be Mozart. Anyone can have a voice. And due to that, it just has this raw energy. And it's oftentimes politically inclined to. A lot of working class musicians were the ones that spearheaded this movement. So it goes, I think it goes beyond, as far as an aesthetic goes, it goes beyond like hairstyles and clothing. All of that's been co-opted by large corporations by now. But the attitude, philosophy, way of life, this idea that the system and establishment is worth rebelling against and taking down is something that lives on as its legacy. So this is a little background for us.
Cool. Well, thanks, James. You, I think, are the expert on this area of music. So thanks for that summary.
Yeah.
I am by no means an expert, which is why I figured we should have me go first
Okay.
here, right? So
let's
I'll do my song, and then you can close it out and actually get back to things that are punk.
Oh, it's no worries. It's part of being punk is everyone's welcome. So we'll keep it within that spirit and take it away. Can't wait to hear what you have to play.
Cool. We brought up Geese last episode, and so I wanted to play something by them. So I'm picking, I think, the most punk song from their new album. It came out in 2025. This is Trinidad from the album Getting Killed.
So, Robbie, as we spoke about while listening to the track, I'm not sure why the title is Trinidad, so I'm at a loss there. But I'm super grateful that you are the person that brought Geese into my life. I noticed that the rest of the album doesn't have this same degree of just raw, spontaneous, crazy energy, which is so attractive to me and just envelops me and takes me right into this song that I love so much. But so for me, thanks to you, it came out of nowhere and I was brought right into it. How did it stand out for you? And I was actually, before I say that, I just want to express my gratitude that you sent a song like this to me, because this is usually the type of song I send to you.
Sure. Yeah, I'm glad I could return the favor.
Yeah, thank you.
I need to shout out one of my students, Soren, for recommending Geese to me. Have really enjoyed listening to them. This sound to me feels punk in that it's just sounds angry. There's screaming. There's a lot of discordant noise going on. And you're right, it is a departure from the rest of the album, but I think it works perfectly to just establish a tone and then kind of move away from it. It's a really nice hook to the album. And I really like the rest of the album too. This is their 4th album. First one came out in 2018. The band started in 2016. So almost a decade now. 4 albums in a decade. I haven't listened as much to the other albums, but I'm looking forward to getting into those. I think I've listened to 2 of them, but not enough to have an opinion one way or another. I was thinking about what punk literature is, and I was the first thought I had was this essay by a writer I love named Mike Nagel. That was published in July 2025 at the Rumpus. The essay is called Orientation. Real funny essay. about his father-in-law having a stroke, obviously not funny real life thing, and then having to become a caretaker for one's father-in-law. But then he finds these fascinating ways to examine disorientation, like the father-in-law has experienced as a result of this stroke and no longer being able to care for himself. But then also the idea of certainty and knowing oneself. And so it's just such an interesting exploration in that it's funny about a serious topic, but then also these really poignant moments about what it means to be human. Nagel has 2 books out titled Duplex and Cul-de-sac, both of them published with an amazing small press called Autofocus, which is run by Michael Wheaton. Folks should definitely check out those books. It has that, I think, connection to, because it's a small press, kind of like a punk literary scene. The books are both really short, really funny, really engaging. And then Nagel also has a column that he did called The Unintentionalist, which was published by a really cool lit journal called Little Engines, which is published by Adam Voith. I think that's also like a magazine where I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely fitting into like the punk literary scene. They're these nice little magazines that have like a newspaper feel to them. Like that's texture-wise what the pages are like. Always really interesting, fun stuff in that magazine being published. So also a thing for our listeners to check out if they don't know Little Engines.
Certainly punk literature extends to other punk styles like cyberpunk. Is that a genre that you're interested in, either in film or literature as well?
Not really. I'm not. It's not that I'm disinterested in it.
Yeah.
It's just not something that's like grabbed me.
Yeah.
What's like a cyberpunk film that you'd be like, oh yeah, that's like the one you should check out?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a Blade Runner comes to mind, right?
Yeah,
and then like in literature, like Philip K. Dick's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
I do enjoy Blade Runner, but it's not like, I don't know, like not like a movie that I return to time and time again.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, James, what do you have for us today, punk-wise?
Hey, for sure. I'm excited to play a song from 1977. It's entitled Pink Flag, and it's by Wire.
This is a sound that I'm like, oh yeah, James would love this. And I'm like fine with it. Yes. It's not like something where I'm like, I love this, like some other tracks that you play. But yeah, thanks for introducing me to this one. I don't know anything about the group Wire. Yeah. Similar to how I know nothing about punk music.
It's so good.
So yeah, fill us in, James. What draws you to this track and this band?
Yeah, well, I think what overlaps with the track by Geese and this track by Wire is that outro, that raw energy. Sure. and just kind of going with the emotion, unfiltered, and letting that be the guide rather than some kind of formulaic music theory expectations for the pop genre, etc. One reason I'm a big fan of Wire is their influence on post-punk, and the legacy of punk is where my central part of my wheelhouse for music really is. Particularly in post-punk, we get bands like New Order, The Cure, and The Chameleons. And then when we think of New Wave, that's where Depeche Mode comes in, Blondie, a band you really like, Talking Heads. When coming back to this song and this album specifically by Wire, I'm taking a page out of your book here and going to the 500 Greatest Albums by Rolling Stone. So on their initial list, it was listed, this album by Wire was listed at number 412. And I don't know why I said 412. That's weird. But in the 2020 edition, it moved up to 310. Oh, so I think while it wasn't a big seller at the time, its resonance continues, and it's what resonates with me today with the music I listen to.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to me when that happens with time. It's like, okay, suddenly this band or this album is like moving up in importance, in some way. Yeah. And so, it's always curious
Yeah.
Like, I'm very curious about those sorts of progressions, or like we've talked about this on a previous episode, I think our 1986 one, where you have a song with staying power to today that's like number 18 or something on the annual chart of the Hot 100, where it's like that year wasn't resonant, but like that's the song that stuck, as opposed to the other 18 songs that now you hear it and you're like, I've never heard this before.
Right.
So yeah, sort of fascinating how that happens with time.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. You and I have talked about that before, and there's a wonderful argument by Chuck Klosterman where he describes the reasons why sometimes the most unpredictable of a particular genre or moment is what has the most resonance, right? I think that when I was in high school, there would be no doubt that the Beatles would be the iconic rock band that would be remembered for centuries down the line, and then now it's possible that people will remember Journey instead. Sure. So definitely unpredictable, but to your point in this case, this band's resonance and influence just seems to continue to increase. In thinking through a kind of cinematic corollary to punk, one movie that comes to mind certainly is Sid and Nancy. It's the story of the Sex Pistols, and it's directed by Alex Cox. It has a young Gary Oldman in that, so it's worth checking out. Also stars Chloe Webb and David Heyman. But the standout punk documentary that I would love to recommend is entitled The Decline of Western Civilization by Penelope Spheris. She is maybe more well known for directing Wayne's World in 1992, but her encapsulation of the Los Angeles punk scene in '79 and again in 1988 is just so profound in the way that she represented the anti-establishment ethos of a new generation, and really the inspiration that these young people embodied in terms of being able to change their culture and society. And it didn't have the same resonance as other musical moments or genres. And maybe like Wire, it will end up having a bigger impact now and down the line than could have been anticipated at the moment. But my goodness, Penelope Spheris captures that moment like no one else. And it's a really important landmark, I think, both for documentary filmmaking, but for music, documentaries as well. So it's a really interesting moment, and she couldn't have been in a better place or captured it more eloquently. So it's fun to bring that particular work to mind.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've never heard of either of those two because I'm not a big documentary watcher. Yeah. Usually when I watch a documentary, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if I've seen a music documentary. Okay, so again, just sort of out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's fun.
Would love to watch it at some point.
For sure. And maybe that could be a future episode. We could do a music documentary episode. I'd be totally down.
Oh, that'd be really fun. I'll have to watch one before then.
Thanks for recommending to do an episode today that is a music style that you are totally pro and for, but don't always listen to. And I hope I can return the favor down the line as well.
Yeah, appreciate it, James. Thanks for your expertise today.
I try my best.
As always, thanks to our producer, Danny Martinez. Thanks for listening today.
Thanks, everyone.